In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I built a $4,000 inbound voice AI agent for an accounting firm. This voice AI agent is able to check availability within a calendar, book appointments, and then it'll even go ahead and send confirmation SMS and email reminders. By the end of this video, you have a complete AI agent template, which you can go ahead and download, which include all the prompts, templates, and workflows completely for free, so you can go ahead and get started. If you don't already know me, my name is Ashton. I've been helping businesses implement AI systems to save time, cut costs, and drive growth within their business. So if you are a business owner and you are looking to implement AI into your business, feel free to book a call down below in the link description. Without further ado, let's jump straight into a demo so you can see how this voice AI agent will work.
Hello, this is Emily from Smart Accounting Solutions. How can I help you today?
Hey, how you going, Emily? Look, I just wanted to book in a discovery call to inquire about some bookkeeping services for my business, please.
Thank you for reaching out. I'd be happy to help you book a discovery call to discuss bookkeeping services. What day and time would you ideally like to schedule your appointment?
Do you have any availability tomorrow at 3 p.m.?
Thanks for waiting. We do have an opening tomorrow at 3 p.m. for your discovery call. To finalize your booking, could I please get your full name, your business name, and your email address? I'll also confirm your phone number as plus.
Yeah, my name is Ashton Voss, and my business name is Ambotics AI. And yes, that is my phone number, and my email is ashton123@gmail.com.
All set, Ashton. Your discovery meeting is booked.
Awesome. And then we can see that I've just gotten a text message on there. That's my phone. I've just got a text message. And we can see that is the Google Meet link. In this case, the discovery call is just going to be an online call via Google Meet. So yeah, that's exactly how the voice agent works. Now let's jump into Retail AI, and I'll show you the configurations and how we've actually built this. Here in Retail AI, and the agent we're going to be using is just a simple single prompt agent right here. And this right here is going to be our prompt that we've used for this agent. Now, I've actually just built this demo for a business. So this is going to be a real demo that I built for a business. In this case, it was an accounting firm. And essentially what they wanted done is they wanted a voice AI agent that would take in all of their inbound calls, check availability via Google Calendar. So it was very easy integration for us, and then send a SMS with the Google Meet link. So yeah, this is going to be the configuration and how I've actually built this $4,000 voice AI agent for an accounting firm. So let's get right into it. So first of all, up here, we're going to be using GPT 4.1. This is going to be the LLM, or the brain behind our AI model right there. So yeah, we can see we can change this to Claude, Gemini, a bunch of different AI models, but we're just using GPT-4, which is appropriate for this type of AI agent right here. And then from here, we have the voice model. So again, I'm just using the default voice for this demo. And I've changed some configurations based on the business just for privacy reasons as well. Also, but yeah, we can see right here, I've just been using the default voice, but we can see we can change all the voices inside Retail AI, which allows us to connect services, to 11 Labs, OpenAI, Cartesia. But in this case, I'm just going to be using the default voice. And then from there, we've got the language of our agent. In this case, it's going to be English, but we can switch it to multilingual, Spanish, and Chinese, German, Dutch, Korean, a bunch of other different things, right? So that's going to be the main language, which is going to be English, right? And then from here, we have the prompt. So essentially, the prompt is telling our AI agent, who it is, what its task is going to be, how to handle the conversation, and a bunch of different configurations. So this is exactly what our prompt will look like. And I'm going to be running you through in detail what this prompt is, and how we're prompting the AI agent to fulfill this task. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, we have the role right here. You are a professional, friendly, and highly efficient AI receptionist for smart accounting bookkeeping firms. Your persona is a helpful assistant whose primary function is to provide a clear information about the business, transfer calls to humans, and book new discovery appointments for the business as well. So essentially, we're just giving the AI a little bit of context about the business, what its persona is, and what it's actually doing in the business as well. And then moving on, we've got the current time. So again, we're giving the AI the current time. And this is going to be very useful for sending those times in the check availability to check availability in the calendar, and then also booking appointments as well. So again, we've got the current time right here. And by the way, if you are wondering what these little hashtags are, it's called markdown format. It's essentially a bit of a better way to let the LLM know what the prompt looks like. In this case, this will be a heading in the eyes or in the brain of the LLM. So again, it's just a little bit of a better way to prompt our agents to make the AI agent view the prompt better. If that makes sense, right? So again, we've got the current time. So this is just the dynamic variable we're using inside VAPI right here. So again, these dynamic variables pre-populate inside the LLM and prompt. So again, they're going to be changed every time. So for example, if you were to change this to Chicago slash, or sorry, America slash Chicago, it would then pre-populate for that time in that time zone, right? So again, same thing for all the other different time zones. So you want to make sure if you are building this AI agent, you need to make sure you change all those configurations for your time zone right there. And then right here, we have the customer number. So again, we can use another dynamic variable to automatically pre-populate using the customer number that they are calling from. And this is going to be very, very useful when we're sending those SMSs, and then also some other configurations within inside the automation platform. So again, we can use the dynamic variable to automatically grab the number that they are calling from. And then as you saw in the conversation, the AI will just confirm that that's their number and will then go ahead and proceed to book the appointment. And then from here, we have the tasks. So these are going to be the main primary functions that the AI is going to be handling within its conversation. So again, your primary tasks are to answer all incoming phone calls instantly and professionally, understand the caller's intent. Are they asking a question, wanting to become a client, or needing to speak to a human? They're also going to be answering any questions by accurately referencing the company's knowledge base, transferring calls to a human team member when explicitly requested, and then also collecting lead information and scheduling appointments according to the process below. So again, these are all its main tasks for the business right here. And I've actually built this, agent. This was a demo agent that I built for a business, and this is exactly what it's going to be doing. So you can actually see what a real world prompt would look like and a real demo would actually look like for the business, right? And then from here, we have the appointment scheduling task. So essentially, I've broken this up into three main tasks or main sections inside the prompt. We've got the appointment scheduling process. We've got the transfer to manager process. And then we've also got the FAQs and customer questions process. So again, we've split those up into three different conversational sections. And then we've in-depth prompted the agent on how to handle those different sections and parts of the conversation, right? So for appointment scheduling, we have number one, initiate the scheduling. And this right here is what we call chain of thought prompting. So again, chain of thought prompting is essentially a way to guide the AI through the conversation using steps. So that's exactly what we've done here. And you can see how we've done it. We've done number one, initiate scheduling, check availability. Number three, book appointments. So this is a very good way on how to prompt our AI agents to effectively handle the conversation based on guiding them through everything using chain of thought prompting, right? So again, number one, initiate scheduling. When the user expresses interest in our service, you will initiate the process to schedule a discovery appointment. Number two, check calendar availability. Ask the user for the preferred date and time for the appointment, and then use the check availability tool to check for openings in the business's calendar based on their preference. So again, making sure we're referencing that function. So when the AI has collected the time, it's then going to send that to our automation platform or software. In this case, it's make.com to then check for availability in the business's calendar, right? Then if the user asks for general availability, use the check availability tool to find slots within the next business day. So again, a little bit more prompt engineering, prompting the AI agent on how to handle different scenarios and conversations as well. When you are checking availability, please say something like, hold on one moment. Never say that you are checking availability for Australia and Brisbane, and make it sound more conversational. So again, this is just more prompt engineering to let the AI know how to conduct that check availability tool, and just letting it know some examples on how to say that as well. Then number three, we have book the appointment. So only run the book appointment tool after you have confirmed the time with the user that it is available and you have collected the information. Once you have confirmed the time by the user, you will ask their full name, business name, and email to book the appointment. Once you have collected that information, confirm their full name, business name, email, and the number that they are calling from. So essentially, what it's going to do is it's going to collect that information that is going to be used for the booking. It's then going to confirm their full name, their business name, their email, then also the number that they're calling from. So it's going to know what number it is based on this dynamic variable up here in which we have prompted it, right? So again, it's just going to confirm that information. That's very important for the business's process. We need to make sure we get that information right within their calendar and calendar system, right? So that's exactly how it's handled that book appointment one. And then from there, once you have collected the information for the appointment, use the book appointment tool to book the appointment. So that's going to be that for step 3 right there. And then finally is step 4, which is confirming the booking. So after the booking, confirm to the customer that they will receive an SMS confirmation with the Google Meet link for the discovery meeting. So you just saw in the demo, it provided me a Google Meet link in which the customer can join on their phone or their computer, and then they can obviously go and join that meeting and discuss the bookkeeping services. So that's essentially how the AI agent is prompted to handle all of those appointment scheduling tasks. Then from here, we have transfer to manager. So you will transfer to the manager under these circumstances. If the customer explicitly says that they need to speak to a human or management, use the transfer tool to transfer. You can see right here, we have that tool up in the functions, which is what I'll dive into a little bit later on how we've configured those. And then if the customer says that they are an existing customer and need to speak to someone about accounting services for their business, use the transfer call to transfer. So again, just prompting the agent under different circumstances and different scenarios within the conversation, right? So that's the transfer to manager section right there. And then from here, FAQs and customer questions. So if the customer asks any questions, you will refer to the knowledge base. And when the customer asks any questions about the business, such as pricing, services, operating hours, processes, you must refer to the knowledge base to answer that question. If you do not find any information from the knowledge base, do not guess. Simply say, I'm not sure, or I can't access that information on our knowledge base, and maybe try Googling it instead. So essentially, this is just an example of how we might prompt the AI agent to handle this scenario in case it can't find any information on the knowledge base, right? And then from here, we have never try to guess any information or make up an answer, and use your ability to use the knowledge base to help answer the customer's questions is very important to the business. So again, just reinstating how important it is to use the knowledge base if it's asked any questions, right? So that's the final section that we have prompted the agent. So hopefully you can see how we've in-depthly prompted that agent based on these 3 scenarios that the customer wanted for their demo, right? Right here, we have the goal, right? So your main goal is to help automate the top of sales funnel by converting inbound callers into scheduled discovery appointments. Answer any questions, transferring calls to help the business, right? So again, just prompted the agent on its main goal. And then we're almost done here. We've got the example scenario. So again, this is just giving a little bit of context on how a conversation might go in real time. This also helps the AI agent map down and always map back to this process to give it a little bit of context on how a conversation might go. This is a very important very important section within our prompt. We can see that we're just referencing, you, the customer. So again, giving a little bit of context on how a scenario might go. And then from here, we also have the tool calls as well. So we can see that we are constantly making sure the AI agent knows when to call those tools inside the function or inside the scenario right here. So we can see, let me check that for you. Hold on one moment, and then run check availability tool. So now the AI agent will know when in the conversation to run all these check availability tools. And this just really makes our conversation more personalized and more conversational within the prompt as well. So that's going to be that part there. Then we've got 2 more sections, which is going to be notes. So always send times to checking availability and booking appointments in the future. Use the current time of the current time now in Australia/Brisbane to ensure that your time is in the future, please. So again, using that dynamic variable and just prompting the agent in its last sections of the notes to make sure it sends that time in the future. And then when the customer asks any questions about the company name and some of the services, you must refer to the knowledge base. When generating responses, try to be concise as possible and not to ramble on too much. And you must check availability first before running the book appointment tool. Once you have checked the availability and confirmed that the time works with the user, then only run the book appointment tool, right? So again, this is just some final notes and prompting on the AI agent and making sure it understands its task and its role, right? And from here, we have end the call. So use the end call function to end the call for the customer. And then you will end the call if the customer's questions have been answered and we have successfully checked availability, booked the appointment, and notified the customer of their meeting confirmation message. So again, this is going to be the full prompt for this AI agent right now. So that's going to cover everything we need to the prompt. And by the way, if you do want this completely free prompt, I've got a free resource hub. You can go ahead and copy and paste it directly into your retail account, and you won't need to do any of this right here. But it's very important to understand how this prompt works and how the AI agent is actually working as well. Then from here, we have a welcome message. So for example, in this case, as it is an inbound AI agent, we're going to be using the AI speaks first little welcome message right here. And then it's going to be a custom message. Up here, we have a dynamic message. This is going to be generated by AI. But since this is an inbound agent, we can just have one singular static custom message in which the AI will say every single time someone will call the phone. So for example, we've got, hello, this is Emily from Smart Accounting Solutions. How can I help you today? So example, this can be really anything at once. But yeah, that is going to be said every single time someone calls the customer phone. All right, so next we have the functions for our voice AI agent, and we have 4 functions right here. We have check availability, book appointment, transfer call, and then also end call as well. So let's dive right into them. So first of all, we have check availability. So first of all, we've got the name right here. And a good tip for here is make sure when you are putting your names, if you have two words and you want a space in between them, make sure to put this little underscore right here, or alternatively, you can just do this. But yeah, you can't have any spaces inside your name because it won't work with inside the JSON payload, right? And then the description to check the availability of the calendar. So a little bit of background about what this description is doing is essentially this is going into the LLM and it's just letting the LLM know what type of function this is, and this helps the AI call the function within the conversation. Now from here, we have the API endpoint right here. This is going to be our webhook trigger that we have inside make.com, which is then going to get that information from retail, and then it's going to trigger our workflow to go ahead and check availability. So if you do download this voice AI agent template with all the workflows, prompts, and everything, you will get this template right here completely for free. So essentially what we have right here, this is going to be our webhook address right here. We need to copy and paste this. We need to put it back into retail. So we need to put it back into retail right here. And then we need to paste that inside the API endpoint, right? So that's going to be our server URL or the API endpoint within inside this custom function right here. And then from there, we have the parameters, right? Which is just going to be the time. So this is going to be the requested time of the customer for the appointment right here. So that's going to be the parameter name. And then the description right here is the requested time for the appointment for the customer, right? So yeah, this very, very simple custom function right here. And then we can go ahead and update that right here. And I will run you through all of the workflows as we are, going through and running through these functions as well, right? And then from here, we have the book appointment function. Now, there's a few things that are, quite different inside this function. Is number one, the name is the same, the description is the same, book appointment, and then the description is to book the appointment on the business's calendar. And the API endpoint right here is going to be the same trigger webhook address, but it's just going to be for a different automation. So again, if you do download this template, you will get this workflow and the check availability workflow, which you can then paste into your Make account and then grab this webhook URL and put it back into this retail API endpoint right here, right? Which is then going to trigger this workflow, right? And a few things is different, right? We have the query parameters right here. So this is going to be that number that we have collected within inside that dynamic variable. And the reason why we put this in, the parameters or query parameters right here is we can put those dynamic variables already inside that parameter to then send to that webhook address right there. So again, this number is just going to be the number of the customer. So again, if it was Australia, it's going to be +61, blah, 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 whatever, right? So again, that's going to be the number of the customer that is calling in that the system has identified right there. So again, we can use those dynamic variables and we don't even have to ask the customer. We can just make sure to confirm that their number is good, that they're calling from, to send that SMS, right? Then the parameters, right? So essentially, this is going to be some of the information around the appointment to go ahead and put into the calendar, right? So again, we've got the name, the name of the customer. This is going to be a string. We've got the confirmed time. So again, the confirmed time of the customer. This is going to be after we have checked availability in the calendar. So again, this is very important to differentiate both of these, parameter names. We've got the confirmed time, which is the confirmed time of the appointment, and then we've got the requested time, which is the requested time upon checking availability. So again, make sure you have that different inside there. And then we also have the business name. So again, this is just going to be the name of the customer's business right there. And then we've got the email, which is essentially the email of the customer. So again, it makes it very easy for us in retail to actually go ahead and do all this. And a little bit of background about what's happening is it's just going to be sending this information via JSON right here to that webhook address that we have up here in the trigger, right? So again, that's going to be the configuration of our book appointment function right here. And of course, that is connected to this workflow, of course. And then from here, we have the end call function. So again, this just allows the AI agent to end the call within the customer. So right here, we've got the name, end call, and then the description is just to end the call of the conversation right here. So very, very simple. And of course, I've got a section within the prompt prompting the agent on how to handle the end call function and the end call scenario, and also when to call that end call function. So again, that's very important to have that within the prompt as well. And finally, we have the transfer call. So again, if the AI detects that a management is needed and a backup is needed, it's then going to transfer the call to a number, right? Right here, we have the name, which is transfer call, and then the description, transfer the call to a human agent, and then we have a static destination and a dynamic routing destination. So for example, in terms of the business's context, if you were to have a manager's number or a phone line that goes to a receptionist, you can put a number in here, which then the AI agent will transfer right here. But of course, I've changed this out, right here. But again, that's going to be the transfer number. And then from here, we have the type. So is it a cold transfer or is it a warm transfer? So essentially what this means is a cold transfer is essentially transferring it without a debrief. So the agent is not going to say anything. It's not going to say any context of what has happened previously in the conversation. It's just going to straight transfer the call to the agent. And then right here, we have a warm transfer. So a warm transfer, essentially the AI agent will provide a debrief to the next agent after transferring the call. So for example, it's going to provide a little bit of context on why the customer is transferring. So yeah, we've got that selected to warm transfer. And then from here, transfer behavior settings, we've got on hold music, which is going to be a relaxing sound. You can change it to ringtone, upbeat beats, a bunch of different things right there. And then right here, we have the human detection. So when enabled, the AI will only debrief if a real human is detected. It will not transfer if it detects a voicemail for non-human responses. And then right here, we've got the detection timeout as just 30 seconds right there. Whisper message, if checked, spoken only, it will transfer the agent, and then three-way message, if checked, spoken after transfer successful, so both parties can hear. Again, we've got both of those switched off as we have a warm transfer on there, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and update that, and that's going to cover all of our functions. Now let's go to the knowledge base. So again, as we reference in here, the agent is going to have access to a company knowledge base, which it can then drive and retrieve different information about the business. So again, this is very useful if the customer is calling up asking about their services. So I'm going to show you how to add that right here. So we go ahead and add, and then we can actually do add new knowledge base right here. It's going to load up, and then we have this accounting service right here. So we go ahead and click add. We might need to refresh this quickly. And then it will show up with inside the dashboard. Awesome. So we can see that is right there. Go again, add that. So again, accounting services. So I'll actually show you what this knowledge base looks like. So this is just generated by Claude right here. Again, this is an example of what a knowledge base would look like inside the accounting services firm. So we can see right here, company overview, contact information, operating hours, services offered. So the AI is going to have access to this information to then retrieve from the knowledge base in which it will then go ahead and provide to the customer, right? And then we've got payroll services, consulting services, a bunch of different things, right? So you can see this is just an example knowledge base, and you can really put whatever you want inside the stock. All you have to do is download the file, come back over to retail, and then put it inside here in the knowledge base section, right? So that's going to be our knowledge base, and that's going to be what we have access to the AI agent as well. Now let's move on to the make.com scenarios. I'm going to be covering the check availability and book appointment as well. Okay, so we have two main workflows that we're going to be using inside this video. So we've got number one right here, which is going to check availability for the accountant inside their calendar. And then the second workflow right here is just booking the appointment. So if we come back over to this first workflow, I've just ran an execution so you can see the data inside this workflow and actually how it works. So if we come in right here, this is going to be that webhook trigger that we mentioned up here within inside that API endpoint. So again, it's going to be triggering this workflow via this API endpoint right here that we have entered inside Retail AI. And then from there, we can see that some of the data that we have right here, which is essentially the time right there, that is going to be in ISO 861 format. And that has been directly sent from Retail AI because we've put in that dynamic variable of the current time right now. And we've also prompted Retail AI as well to send that time. So we can see right here, that is going to be the time in ISO 861 format, and we need it to be inside this format. And that's why it's very important to use this current time right now, so the AI model knows what time it is and how to send it as well. So again, that's very important. So we can allow the automation to check that time for using this specific format right here, right? And then the next module right here we have is checking the availability with inside the Google Calendar. Now, of course, for this particular demo that I built it, they were already using Google Calendar, so it was very, very easy to go ahead and connect right here. But of course, if you were using another software or the businesses were using another software or integration, you would need to go ahead and connect to their systems as well. But moving on to this module, essentially, it's very, very simple. We're just using that time that we have collected right there, and then we're just adding on 60 minutes right there. So then that gets a minimum time, and then that gets a maximum time, and then it's just checking availability for that time zone within the calendar system. And of course, you want to connect and add your Google Calendar right here. Just go ahead and click add and sign into your Google Calendar, and that will be all good to go. Then make sure your calendar ID is also that Gmail connected up to that Google Calendar account. And then from there, essentially, it's going to go down two paths. So number one, if that appointment is available, it's then going to simply respond to the webhook in that it's getting that data. So again, if it's checked that time, if it is available inside that Google Calendar, it's then going to respond using that webhook or that tool call right there, and let the AI model know that that time is available. So we can see right here in this execution that actually wasn't the case. So it will then go down this fallback route, which will then check if it's unavailable, which will then, notify that the automation is identify that it is unavailable, in which we'll then go ahead and check all that availability right there. So yeah, that's kind of the automation right there. We can see that it's gone ahead and identified that it is unavailable. And we can see we do this by a filter right here. So we can see that time it's actually 3 p.m. So if we come back to the Google Calendar, we can see that slot is actually taken. And then it has gone down and informed that automation that it actually is unavailable, right? So again, if it is unavailable and it passes through that filter based on the previous module, it'll just simply send a return message to the retail AI. And then if it is unavailable, it'll go down this path right here. So we can see right here that bundle ended up being unavailable, and then it'll go down and set the tool variable. So essentially, it's just going to set this tool name as the day, and the variable value is going to be this. So for example, we're just going to be formatting that value inside this date right here, and then we're going to be naming that variable name as the day to use inside the automation later. Then from here, we're going to be checking for more slots. So now we have that variable set as the day. We're going to be adding on 24 hours. So the minimum time will be that time that the customer has requested. And then the maximum time will now be adding on 24 hours. So now what it's going to do is it's going to get all the available slots within that time requested within that day, right? And then from there, it's going to transform that to JSON. This is just makes it a little bit easier for the AI to understand because it is in JSON format right here. So again, it's getting all of those available slots within Google Calendar, and then it's then going down to this JSON file format, and then it's putting it inside the object right there, right? And then from here, we have converting that UTC time to GMT plus 10, right? So it's getting all those available time slots in UTC, and it's just converting it to GMT plus 10. So right here, we have the developer system role, and we've said your role is to convert these provided times from UTC to GMT plus 10. Please only output the converted times and do not output any notes/text. That should say output. And then from here, we have the user. So again, here is the provided time slot. So again, it's using that JSON file that it has access inside the Google Calendar, and it's providing the AI with the available time slots. And then from there, it's going to convert that time to GMT plus 10, right? You can see that's how we do it inside here. And then from there, it's going to find alternative time. So again, creating another completion model inside make.com. And again, we've prompted the AI agent to say your role is to output the alternative time in slots that the user can book for. You must output the result in JSON format. Do not output any notes and text. And then please recommend 3 alternative 60-minute slots, strictly following these rules. Here are all the available times in the day that are not available. You must not recommend any times within these booked slots. So again, that is going to be that previous completion model inside that automation right there. And then number 2 is here is the time they tried to book in, but this time was not available, right? Again, we put that requested time argument that we have in here that has come back not available, right? And now we'll prompt the agent to try and recommend times that are close to the initial booking time. This is the current time. You must ensure that it is not earlier than this. So again, we're giving the current time right now inside this automation. And of course, you need to change this for your time zone. So for example, if you were in America, you would put America/Chicago and whatever time zone you were in. In this case, I am Australia/Brisbane. So you need to make sure you change all of the GMT time zones to your GMT time zone, and then also all of these text formats in here with your time zone right here. And then number 4, do not suggest any time before 5 p.m. and after 11 p.m. So again, we can prompt the AI agent to actually check for availability within the opening hours. So for example, in this case, the firm might not be available in these times. So we can actually prompt the AI agent to make sure it doesn't recommend any times within these time zones right here. And then we've said, please provide and recommend 3 times that would be available for booking. Output these times as you are speaking to a person, and you must ensure the time slots are recommended are available. It is very important you follow these instructions in closely, right? You can go ahead and click save right there. And then from there, once it has found those alternative times, all it's doing is it's just generating a message to the user in which it will respond in that JSON webhook response node right there. Then we can see this is just the role. The user has been recommended time slots that they can book in for. Your role is to clearly communicate the time slots to the user in a natural conversational tone. And then from there, we've just given them a output example right there. And then we've said, please be concise when referring to the time slots. Just say the start time. Do not use any line breaks. And then from here, we've provided the time slots as we have in those notes. And then from there, we can see the result right here, which has been great. I've got some time slots to you. You can use 5 p.m., 6 p.m., or 7 p.m. on October the 15th. Let me know which one works for you, right? And by the way, these tool call IDs up here is used for VAPI, but in this case, we're using retail, so we don't actually need to put any information configured in there. So again, that is essentially how this simple automation works and what it's actually doing. Again, very, very smart. We've used a filter right here to initiate a fallback process, then go ahead and check for more availability within that day. So that's essentially all that second filter is doing. Okay, now this is the final automation we have in here, and this is going to be the book appointment automation. So let's get right into it. So first of all, this is going to be the trigger that we have in this workflow. This is going to be that webhook trigger that we have. So if we come back to our AI agent right here, we can see that that is going to be that API endpoint or that webhook workflow trigger, which we have in right there, as we can see. And then from there, we're going to have some data mapped into this workflow. So as we can see, if we open up this is some of the data. We have the name, we've got the confirmed time, the business name and email, and then we've also got my number right there. And if we go back to the workflow, we can see that that dynamic variable has been pre-populated to identify my number that has been calling in. So we can see that is going to be my number right there. And then, yeah, please keep in note that all of these variables are going to be mapped now into this workflow. And yeah, we can see everything right here. So first of all, we have the Google Calendar connection in which it's going to create an event right here. So we can see, make sure you add your Google Calendar again. We're going to be creating an event in detail, and the calendar ID is going to be my email right there. And then from there, we're just going to be using the default color settings right there. And then from there, this is going to be the event name. So new discovery appointment for Ashton Voss, which is going to be my name, and then at the confirmed time. So we can see we can map that data into this workflow to show into the event name right there. So we can see that this is all the data that we have right here, and we're mapping it in to the workflow. So if you do download this template, you'll get everything pre-configured as well. And then from there, we have the start date, which is just going to be that confirmed time that we have sent over via the webhook, as you saw in the beginning. And then from there, we have the end date, which is what we have left blank. And then from there, we've got the duration, which is just 1 hour. So again, we can automatically define the end date just by adding on the duration of the appointment, which is going to be 1 hour. And then from here, we have the description. So again, discovery meeting for Ashton Voss. Again, we're mapping in that data we have received from this webhook, and then we're putting it inside here. We've got the time, the business name, and then also the number right there, which is going to be put into the description. And then from here, we have the attendees. So name, which is, myself, obviously, and then the email, which is obviously the email we have collected. And then from here, we have also switched on add Google Meet video conferencing. So again, this is going to generate a Google Meet link in which we can use to send to the customer as well. So again, this is going to be the configurations for the calendar. Now, if we come down to the confirmation email, these are the configurations. So again, very, very simple. We're just mapping in that email right there for the email address. The subject, we've had your discovery call with Smart Accounting Solutions have been scheduled at the confirmed time. So again, grabbing that confirmed time we have from the webhook and putting it into the subject right here. Then the content is pretty similar. So again, we're just drafting an email. We're using a little bit of personalization by enabling to put their name in there. And then we said, hey, Ashton, this is a confirmation email that your discovery call has been successfully scheduled for appointment time right there. Below is the meeting to join the link. So as we can see, that Hangout link is going to be that Google Meet link inside the email. And then from there, we're doing the exact same thing, but we're using a Twilio number configuration. So again, that's why we have used that dynamic variable to automatically populate this field. So we don't actually have to ask the customer's number. We can just use the number that they are calling from within the system right here. So again, that is why we'll put that number into the to section from there. And of course, you will need to go ahead and add your Twilio connection. Make sure your number has a voice capability and also an SMS capability as well. Otherwise, it won't work. Again, that's my number that I've selected right there. And then from there, we've gone to create a message body. And then all that we've done is we've pasted in that Gmail confirmation email and we've put it inside the body right there. As we can see, we've got the time and then we've also got the Hangout link as well. So that will be sent via SMS as well. Then finally, we have the webhook response. Again, this template was originally used for VAPI, but since this is retail, we do not need a tool call ID response. All we need to do is just let the AI agent know the result which in this case is going to be the result saying, great job. Great, your job has been booked, right? Or your appointment has been booked, right? So essentially, that's a quick overview of this workflow right here. Now, yeah, that's just going to be the end of the video. And if you are a business owner and you are looking to implement AI solutions into your business to save time, cut costs, and drive growth, feel free to book a completely free discovery call down below in the link in the description. And of course, all of these templates, prompts, workflows will be completely available in the free resource hub. So you can just go ahead and download them and get started, and everything will be ready to go. So, yeah, without further ado, I'll see you in the next